Hello and welcome to a video just put together to walk you through the foundation paper 3, which is a calculator paper that all SAT pupils did in the March mocks. I'm going to try and go through each question one by one, try and be as clear as I can. Obviously, if you've got any other questions, requests, etc., leave them in the comments, email your maths teacher, or contact me via the SAT Maths Instagram. Hope everyone is okay at home. It's really weird trying to do these walkthroughs without a class. Normally you have people asking questions and stuff, and it's just a bit weird doing it just to a camera, but bear with me, hopefully it will be helpful. So our first page, obviously we have our multiple choice questions. So the first one, circle the value of the digit 2 in the answer to 5,200 divided by 100. A lot of people miss the fact that it said divide by 100 there, so I forgot to actually do the sum and get an answer of 52. So the digit 2 is actually just 2 units, so it's just 2 rather than 200, which was the most common wrong answer there. Solve x add 8 equals 5, so something add 8 is 5, so if we take 8 off both sides we get minus 3, so minus 3 add 8 is 5. Circle the fraction that is equal to 3 3/4. So 3 3/4, a couple of different ways of doing this. 3 wholes is 3 times 4 quarters, so that's 12 quarters. 12 quarters plus another 3 quarters is 15 quarters. The other way to do it, you can think about the fact that 3 quarters is 0.75 because of 3 divided by 4, so you're looking for 3.75. The only one that gives you 3.75 is 15 divided by 4, because that gives you 2.5, that gives you 5.25, and that just gives you 9. Circle the expression, which means x divided by y. So divide just the line in a fraction. So that one's x divided by y, the correct answer. That's y divided by x. That's 1 divided by x times y, and that's 1 divided by x add y. Put these numbers in order from smallest to largest. Just be really careful. A number of people gave it the wrong way around there. So to do that, a couple of different ways again. We've got to try and put them all into something comparable. So first way is put them all into a similar denominated fraction. So that one's 27 over 40, 3/5. I'll multiply that by 8, you get 24 over 40. 5/8 times that by 5, you get 25 over 40. 0.65 is 65 hundredths. Divided by 5, 30 20ths. 26 40ths. Bear in mind this was a calculator paper as well. There's no real reason why that should have been beyond anyone. Once you've got them something comparable, you could have turned them all into decimals just by putting this into your calculator. 3/5 is the smallest, 0.6. 5/8 is next, 0.625. Then 0.65 or 0.650 you could call it, and then 27 40ths. Making them all the same length when they're decimals means it's a little easier to see. Some people got confused between the lengths rather than the size of the questions. Question 6 on the paper. So Josh downloads album A. It's got 12 tracks. Each track costs the same amount, and the total cost of downloading A is £9. He then also downloads a different album with 17 tracks, and we've got to work out the price of that. So if 12 tracks cost £9, one track is going to be £9 divided by 12, which is 75p. Again, just put that into your calculator. So if one track costs 75p, 17 tracks are going to be 17 lots of 75p, which is 12.75. As it says, assuming each track costs the same as on track A, so assuming that it's going to be 75p there as well. In fact, compared to the cost of each track on A, the cost of 6 tracks is 5p more, cost of 11 tracks is 5p less. So what does this tell you about your answer to part A? Well, if 6 costs 5p more, that's 30 pence more. If 11 costs 5p less, that's 55 pence less. So 30 subtract 55 is overall 25p less, because more are going to be cheaper than more expensive. You could work out the overall cost would be £12.50. Either way, we've got to tick the box that the total cost is less than the answer to part A. Question 7, we've got a pictogram here, so we've got our key representing two houses. Be really careful to read the question. A number of people actually just zooming in like that. A number of people just told me how many houses rather than how many bedrooms. So each symbol there represents two houses. So we've got 2, 4, 6 plus a half house, so that's 1. So that's 7 houses. That's 8 houses, and that's 3 houses. So 3 bedroom houses, there's 7 of them. 3 times 7, that means there's 21 beds in total. 4 bed houses, 8 times 4, 32 beds in total. 5 bed houses, 5 times 3, 15 beds. If we then add all those together, 21, 32, 15, you get 68 bedrooms. As I said, a number of people just gave an answer of just adding up the number of houses, 7 plus 8 plus 3, which was 18. For positive whole numbers, those couple of words are really important there. So we can't have negatives, we can't have decimals. They add up, so they have a total of 60. One of the numbers is a multiple of 13. The other 3 numbers are equal. A number of people read that as are even. Equal means they're all going to be the same. So we've got one number that's a multiple of 13, and then the other 3 numbers are all going to be the same. So multiples of 13, just my 13 times table, 13, 26, 39, 52, 65, etc. Can't use 65 as it would be too big, because our total's got to be 60. So we work through the other 4 possible multiples of 13. 60 take away 13 leaves me with 47 for the other 3 numbers. Well, 47 doesn't equally split into 3 parts. Same for 26, leaves 34, doesn't split into 3 equal parts. Same for 52, leaves me with 8, doesn't split into 3 equal parts. The only one that does work is if we use 39. So 60 subtract 39 leaves me with 21. 21 divided by 3 means that all the other numbers are 7. So we can check this works. One of the numbers is a multiple of 13, yeah. All the others are equal, yeah. And then if we add all those up, they give me an answer of 60. Jim wants to buy 10 rolls of wallpaper. He sees these prices, so it tells us a single roll, a pack of 3, a pack of 5. First thing that's really important, a lot of people gave a pack of 3 rolls, bought 3 of those, and then almost went into the shop, destroyed a pack of 3, and just got a pack of 1 out of it. You can't take 1 out of a pack of 3, so they just divided £34.50 by 3 and got a value of 1 that way. You can't do that. You can't go into a supermarket and just break open a pack of 3 and just buy 1 from it. They come in packs of 3. The other thing people did incorrectly here was multiply that by 4 and say, right, we're going to buy 4 packs of the 3 rolls, and got me 12 rolls. It doesn't make sense. I want to buy 10 rolls. So the different ways we can do it: single, so buying them singly, 10 times 12.50, which is 125 quid. The pack of 3, well, I'd need 3 packs of 3, and then I'd have to buy a single roll to take it up to 10 rolls. So that's 3 lots of £34.50 plus another £12.50 from the top, so that gives me 116 quid. Pack of 5, well, I'd need 2 packs of 5, 2 lots of £58.75. Again, just use your calculator to check. Don't want to see any just using grid method or Chinese box, etc. Make sure you're using your calculator on a calculator paper. So the cheapest way is £116, which is the 3 lots of 3 adds the 1 single. Next one, we have a rectangle ABCD, so ABCD, triangle ABE. So this triangle here is equilateral. Really important fact to remember straight away: all the angles in equilateral are 60, because 180 divided by 3, equilateral, everything's the same, so 60, 60, 60. It tells us that triangle CDE, this bottom triangle, is isosceles, and it's got the lines on just to show that. So work out the size of angle X. Again, there's multiple ways of doing it. It's just remembering your rules about triangles, about rectangles, about isosceles, etc. So if I start up here, that's got to be a right angle. I know it's 60. because of the fact it's equilateral. So 90 take away 60 means this angle here must be 30 degrees. Same on the other side, that must be 30 as well. We then have this angle here is 70. Again, you've got a right angle. 90 take away 70, which means that is 20. Because it's isosceles, this one here is 20 as well. 20 and 20 is 40, so that leaves that one there with 140 degrees. Couple of ways now. I know that's going to be 70, that's 30, which leaves me with 80 there, or I could go 70 and 30 there, which leaves that one of 80, that's 60, that's 140. Angles around a point add up to 360, so either way that one's going to be 80 degrees. Complete the number machine. This threw a lot of people because it was just asking a function machine, a number machine, in a slightly more unusual way. So my input is A, I do something to it, I multiply it by 5 and I get 5A subtract 10. Well, the A times the 5 gives me the 5A, so all I need in here is something times by 5 to give me that negative 10 there. Well, something times 5 is minus 10, minus 10 divided by 5 gives me negative 2, because 2 times 5 is 10, so minus 5, 2 times 5 is minus 10. Write down the output y in terms of x, so we've just got to write this in terms of what it would look in as an algebraic expression, formula I should say. So x divided by 4, so we're going to put that as a fraction, subtract 2 equals y. You could write it slightly differently. You could have x divided by 4, subtract 2. It's just messy. It's a lot neater to write it like that. The first 4 triangle numbers are 1, 3, 6, 10. Circle the next triangle number. You can either know them or you can just look at the pattern. So we've got 1, then we've got 3, and then we've got 6, and then we've got 10. So look at what you're adding on each time. That's adding on 2, that's adding on 3, that's adding on 4. So my next one must be adding on 5, which gives me 15. Write down all, so not just 1 or 2, all of the prime numbers between 70 and 80. It's all about understanding what a prime number actually means. So a prime number only has 2 factors, itself and 1. It's only in the 1 times table in its own times table. It can only be divided by 1 and itself, etc. So it can't be even, because all your even numbers, anything ending in 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, are in the 2 times table. They all have a factor of 2. So therefore, it only leaves me with 71, 73, 75, 77, 79. We can eliminate the ones that aren't prime by thinking about what factors they have. 75 is in the 5 times table, because it ends in 5, so it can't be prime. 77 is in the 7 times table, prime, so that leaves us with 71, 73 and 79, which are the prime numbers there. Right, up to this point, so we are now on 6 marks, 11 marks, 17 marks, 25, on 30 marks so far. Obviously, we're all aiming for different stuff on this, but roughly to get you 4, you're looking at 50%-ish, just over 50%, and around 70-odd% to guarantee you 5, but obviously it depends on paper to paper, year to year. So our next question, question 14. In this question we are given some information, some links. 1 cubic foot is 6.23 gallons, and 1 cubic foot is also equal to 0.028 cubic meters. We need to turn gallons into cubic meters. So to get from feet to gallons, we times, so if we go this way, we times by 6.23, because 1 times 6.23 is 6.23. So to go back from gallons to cubic feet, or 1 cubic foot, we divide by 6.23. So 4,984 divided by 6.23 on our calculator is going to give us 800 cubic feet. 800 cubic feet, we're then going to go this way, because we're now going from the 1 to the other number, so we're going to times by 0.028. So 800 times 0.028 using the calculator is 22.4 cubic meters. Circle the correct statement. So we've got 4 multiple choice answers. 2/3 means 2 divided by 3. 2 divided by 3, if you're using a calculator or any other way, is 0.6 recurring, which is 66.6 recurring percent. Because to get from decimal to percentage, we multiply by 100. So that symbol means less or equal to. Well, it's not less than 60. It's not less or equal. It's not less than 60. So it's not those two. It's definitely not equal to 60%. So the only one it must be is 2/3 is not equal to 60%. Which shape must have rotational symmetry? So rotational symmetry means you can turn it through a certain number of degrees and it looks exactly the same. And the word must is important there because it's in bold. Anything in bold is always important. So isosceles triangle, for example, it looked like that. Well, it wouldn't have any rotational symmetry. A trapezium, if it looks like that, wouldn't have rotational symmetry. People sometimes get kites and rhombuses confused. A kite looks like that. That doesn't have rotational symmetry. The only one that does, which is parallelogram. Parallelogram is essentially a rectangle that has been pushed over, leant over. So if you turn that through 180 degrees, it would look exactly the same. So that's the parallelogram. A shop sells ice cream. Each ice cream has 2 scoops. The possible flavours are vanilla, strawberry, chocolate, mint. It even gives you the clue here that it's better to write in code rather than writing the whole words out. The 2 scoops can be the same flavour or different flavours. A number of people forgot about the same flavour. So I'm going to be logical about this. We can have vanilla and vanilla. It's the same flavour. We can have vanilla and strawberry, vanilla and chocolate, vanilla and mint. I'm then not going to say strawberry and vanilla because I've already said vanilla and strawberry, so there's no point writing it down again. So I can have strawberry, strawberry, strawberry chocolate, strawberry mint, chocolate, chocolate, chocolate mint, and finally mint, mint. So in total 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different options there. We've then got to try and draw out a pie chart to represent the data about the number of scoops sold. It tells us in total we sold 90 scoops of ice cream. That's really important. When you're doing a pie chart, this is your most important formula here. 360 degrees, the 360 comes from the pie chart being a circle, and a circle has 360 degrees. Divide that by the total number of people, total number of scoops, or total number of whatever you're using. That gives you how many degrees per person, or in this case degrees per scoop. So 360 divided by the 90 scoops means every scoop is going to be worth 4 degrees. So vanilla, 25 scoops, each worth 4 degrees, is 100. Strawberry, 15 times 4 is 60. Chocolate, 40 times 4 is 160. Why would you choose chocolate? Chocolate ice cream is generally not nice. So mint is least. Mint's my favourite ice cream. So mint is 10 times 4, which is 40 degrees. We're then going to get our protractor. We put the protractor on. We make sure we measure 100 degrees, nice straight line. Label up our angle and the category. Then you make sure you're going to put the new 0 of the protractor on the new line. The most common mistake is people just keep the 0 on this line all the time, and they just end up with all their different pieces there. Make sure as you're doing it, you turn your protractor around. So then once you've done the vanilla, then that's your 0 degrees line. So then that's going to be 60. Then that's your 0 degrees line, etc., etc. And your pie chart should look something like that. You may have done it in a different order, but it is going to look something to that effect. Right, question 18. A lot of confusion from a lot of people with this one. On the grid, draw an enlargement of the triangle with scale factor half. The problem was the word enlargement. Enlargement does not have to mean make bigger. Enlargement means change the size. So a scale factor of half means everything's going to be half as big. we're going to multiply each side length by a half. So that's 4, that's 6. 4 times a half, half of 4 is 2. 6 times half, half of 6 is 3. So I need a new triangle anywhere on this grid, because it says it doesn't matter where it is, it's just got to be 2 across and 3 up. So as long as I draw a triangle, it's still going to be isosceles, as this one is, because they both meet at the middle there. So it's the same shape, just everything's half as big. We've then got our simplify fully question. So we've got 7a squared minus 4a plus 6 minus a squared plus 6a minus 3. Biggest mistake a lot of people made here was just starting to add everything together. You can only collect like terms. That means that the algebra bit at the end has to be exactly the same. You can't just add together an a squared with an a. It doesn't work. So collecting up like terms, I've got 7a squared take away 1a squared. I've just put a 1 in front of it just to remind me there is one of it, because some people just do 7a squared take away the a squared and just get left with a 7. So 7a squared take away 1a squared is 6a squareds. We've then got minus 4a plus 6a, 6a minus 4a, that gives me 2a, and then I've got 6 subtract 3, which is 3. Put all those bits together, 6a squared plus 2a plus 3. You can't then do anything with that answer. I can't then add that together to give me 8a cubes or 11a cubes or whatever some people did there. It's got to stay like that. They're separate terms. Right, factorise. So your answer is going to involve brackets. We're going to be collecting the highest common factor, so the biggest thing that they've got in common. Highest common factor of 8 and 12, so I'm going to do my numbers first. 8 and 12, highest common factor is 4. Do have a factor of 1 of 2, but we do the highest common factor there. Highest common factor of y squared and y, they both have a factor of y. So I'm then going to cancel as I go. So I'm going to write 4 and y on the outside. 4's into 8 goes 2. And get rid of one of the y's. I've wrote the y squared out as yy just to help me there, so I'll get rid of one of them. Then 4's into 12 goes 3, 4's into minus 12 goes minus 3, and cancel out the y. So we've got there. We can then expand to check if we've got time. So 4 times by 2y is 8y squared. Subtract 4y times by 3, which is 12y. Question 20, solve x squared equals 361. A little bit of a harsh question, I felt. So something times itself gives me 361. So the opposite of squaring is square rooting. So the square root of 361 is 19. However, to get the full marks here, they wanted you to put also 19 or negative 19, because minus 19 times minus 19, negative times negative, is going to give you 361 as well. Biggest mistake people did here, just forgetting x squared means x times by x. It doesn't mean x times by 2, so some people just halve this and got 180.5. X squared means x times by x, so something times something. Right, question 21. We're doing really well. I had to restart this video first time because the cat decided to jump on the computer. So far so good. No cat. Hope you're still with me. I know it's difficult times having to try and go through this on YouTube and not having the teacher in front of you, but I promise you we're doing our best, and it is all about you staying safe, staying inside, trying to get this over and done with as quick as we can. Look out the window, it's a lovely sunny shiny day today, which is a shame. It'd almost be easier if it was absolutely throwing it down with rain, because then you wouldn't want to go out anyway. Right, our next question. To the nearest pound, John has £7. I presume that's short for Jonathan, I don't know. To the nearest 50p, Ellie has £3.50. Work out the minimum possible total amount of money. So, to the nearest pound, so John has anything between £6.50 and £7.49, because any of those values between would round to £7. Anything lower than £6.50 would round down to £6, and anything higher than £7.49, so £7.50, etc., would round up to £8. So the minimum he's got is £6.50. To the nearest 50p, so the minimum she's got is £3.25, because £3.24 would round down to £3. So therefore the minimum total amount of money, £6.50 plus £3.25, which is 975. Question 22. Here's a formula. Doesn't really tell us what the formula is for, but it's a formula nonetheless. So t is equal to n squared, so n multiplied by itself, subtract 12 divided by n. So I'm going to put some numbers in here. Again, just put it straight into your calculator would work. So 3 is equal to n, so n squared becomes 3 squared. 12 over divide by 3. Work it out without the calculator, but putting it into the calculator will definitely guarantee it. 3 squared is 9, 12 divided by 3 is 4, 9 subtract 4 is 5. So just write that on the answer line there. Second part's a little harder to get your head around. Why is t always positive when n is negative? So two parts to this, because it gives me 2 marks. I've got to say 2 things in general. So n squared is always positive. It's impossible to square something and get a negative number, because if you do a positive number times a positive, you get a positive, and if you do a negative times a negative, you get a positive. So n squared is always going to be a positive term. 12n, when n is negative, well, positive divided by negative is negative, so the term 12n would be negative. You've then got subtract 12n, so if you've got subtract a negative number, minus minus, means you're actually going to add it on. For example, 12 divided by minus 3 is minus 4, because 12 divided by 3 is 4, so you've got minus 4, which is actually the same as just adding on 4. So because both terms are positive, so the answer must be positive. So when n is negative, everything is just going to give you a positive answer there. Right, next one. Question 23, nearly there. In 1 hour, a machine can make 400 nuts or 750 bolts. Again, this one's really key just to read the question fully. At 2 p.m, the machine starts working. Not sure why they start at 2 p.m, it's quite late in the day to start working. It makes 1,000 nuts and then changes to bolts. How many bolts will the machine make by 9 p.m? So, if we do 400 nuts per hour, 1,000 divided by 4 gives you 2.5 hours, 2.5 hours. So, if it starts at 2 p.m, 2.5 hours later, at 4:30, it's going to start making bolts. Now, apparently this miraculous machine can automatically change from nuts to bolts without any changing of the system or setting up, but we're just going to ignore that. So 4:30 p.m. gives us another 4.5 hours of making bolts. So 4.5 hours, 750 per hour times the 4.5 hours, again using your calculator, it means you make 3,375 bolts. Right, 2 solids, J and K, again, why J and K, but never mind, have the same density. So I know these 2 numbers here are going to be exactly the same. It tells me the mass and the volume of J, and it tells me the mass of K. It's about remembering what density actually is. Density is mass divided by volume, dmv. Technically you shouldn't use d for density, it should be rho, which looks like a lowercase p, but that's by the by. So I know 54 mass, 9 volume. 54 divided by 9 gives 6, sorry, gives me 9 grams per centimetre cubed. It's very clear, give your units. If you miss your units off, you're throwing away marks there. Grams divided by centimetre cubed is grams per centimetre cubed. That's how you work out units for density. Just put the 2 units together. So therefore, if that's 9 grams per centimetre cubed, that one is 9 grams per centimetre cubed as well. So I know 72 divided by something equals 9. We flip that round, the volume, cover over volume, you've got mass divided by density. So we've got 72 divided by 9, which gives me 8. Again, just look at the units there, that's centimetre cubed. That must be centimetre cubed as well. Or you can think grams divided by centimetre cubed. Grams cancel out, and you've just got centimetre cubed left over. Right. Last. How much have we got left over? Not too much more. Good. My voice is getting a bit croaky now. Doing these videos, I don't think I'm cut out to be a YouTuber and just talking constantly. As a teacher, you kind of like. You stop a little bit more and other people ask you the questions, but just talking for half an hour, it's not the easiest thing in the world actually. Does this mean I am a YouTuber now? Don't think I want to be. It's a bit sad. 25. Towns P, Q and R. We're connected by roads. The roads here. PR is 5 kilometres longer than PQ, so that's going to be our shortest one. QR is twice as long as PR, and the total length of the 3 roads is 195 kilometres. There are different ways. You could have just done trial and error, etc. So just called that a length, and then done that length 10 longer. So just trial and error. So we'd said our first one was 10, then our other one would be 15, and then the other one, which is twice long, would be 30. 10 plus 15 plus 30 does not give you 195, so it wouldn't work. So you could have just done it trial and error. However, a more elegant mathematical way of doing it, which is what we're always obviously striving for, a more efficient way. If that's x, that's going to be x plus 5 because it's 5 longer, and then this one's 2 lots of it because it's double, so 2 lots of x plus 5 is 2x plus 10. We put all that together, x and 2x is 4x, 5 and 10 is 15, and that's equal to the 195. I'm going to take 15 off both sides, which gives me 180 is 4x. I'm going to divide both sides by 4, so it gives me x equals 45. 45 we can check definitely does work, so 45, so then therefore the one that's 5 longer would be 50, and the one that's double it would be 100. 100 plus 50 plus 45 gives me that 195 I'm aiming for. Right, question 26. Mia wants to borrow 900 quid and repay it with interest after 2 years. I don't really say what Mia's borrowing the money for. Maybe, I don't know, on a holiday. It'd be nice to go on holiday, wouldn't it? We can't go on holiday at the moment. I'm supposed to be going to Berlin over Easter. That's been cancelled. But there's worse people in the world, so I should stop moaning. She sees 2 offers for loans. Offer 1, compound interest. And that's 5% per year. Offer 2, compound interest, first year 3%, second year 7%. The issue here is people not understanding what compound means. Confusion comes from not understanding compound interest. The percent is calculated on the new balance. So say for example you get 5% in the first year, that's 5% of 900, but in the second year that 5% is no longer 5% of 900, it's 5% of whatever you've got at the end of the first year, which would be 945 quid. So your 5% actually gets bigger. So that's what compound interest means. If it was simple interest, you would get the same, because simple interest is just 5% of whatever you start with. So 5% of 900, 5% of 900, 3% of 900, 7% of 900, both of them are 10%. Compound interest, as I said, because it changes how you calculate at the end of each year. Your formula is the money times by percentage multiplier to the power of the number of years. That's your general formula. So 900 times 1.05. The 1.05 comes from 100, add 5% is 105%. Percent means out of 100, 105 divided by 100 is 1.05. And that's the power of 2 for 2 years. So that way gives me £992.25. 900 times by 1.03 times 1.07, because 103%, 107%, and that gives me £991.89. So they're not the same amount. Question 27, obviously again towards the back end of the paper, so a lot more difficult questions going on now. As I said, if you got everything up to here, you're well into your grade 5 anyway. So 2 sets of numbers. Set A gives me all the numbers, set B gives me most of them, but one is missing. Tells me the ratio between them, so 5 parts to 9 parts. So first thing we're going to do to get our first mark is work out the average of set A. So mean average, 440, which is the total, divided by 4 numbers means on average they are 110, because 110 times 4 gives me the same value as their total. I'm then going to use that value to work out the mean of set B. So 5 parts is worth 110. That's multiplied by 22 there. So multiply the other side by 22. I know the mean average of set B is 198. So 198 times by 5, because there's 5 numbers there, means the total of that set of numbers has to be 990. So 180 plus 200 plus 270 plus 300 gives me 950. I want it to be 990, so it needs to have an extra 40 on there to get me to the correct total. Question 28. A straight line has gradient. Gradient is the steepness of the line. For every 1 unit you move to the right, how many units do you move up or down on your line? So it's also known as dy dx, the change in y divided by the change in x. It tells you it's going to be in that format, y equals mx plus c. That's a general straight line equation. So the gradient is always in front of your x. Just like when you're thinking about sequences, 3n is your 3 times table because it's going up in 3s. So the gradient here has to be 2x. So y equals 2x, add something. To work out that something, it tells us it passes through this point here. So your point x is 3, your point y is 10. So I'm going to substitute in 3 times 2, that gives me 6, and the y is 10. So 10 equals 3 times 2 plus something, our constant. 10 equals 6 plus a constant. That must be 4 because 6 plus 4 equals 10. So therefore, my equation of the line is going to be y equals 2x add 4. Right, last page. So if you're still with me, well done. Two sides of a triangle have length 13 centimeters and 27 centimeters. Which of these is a possible length of the other side? Random place to have a multiple choice question, but the two shorter sides of a triangle must be bigger than the longest side to form a triangle. Imagine if you had, that was the longest side, and then your two other sides were shorter than it. They're never going to meet, because if they're shorter, they're only going to fall there and there. So your two shorter sides of any triangle must be bigger than your longest side when you add them together. So if we had 13 add 13, that's only 26, wouldn't meet. 13 add 14 is 27. The only way that could meet would just be forming a perfectly straight line. 40, well, the two short sides then are 13 and 27. Again, that would just form a straight line. The only way it can work is if it was 13, 27, 27, so forming an isosceles triangle, because the shorter sides are bigger than the longest side. Last one, trigonometry question. Here is a right angled triangle. Use trigonometry. I mean, it couldn't be any nicer. It's even told you it's trigonometry. Unfortunately, some people still decided that Pythagoras would be the way to go on this. It's not, I promise. It tells you there, trigonometry. Pythagoras only to be used, right angle triangles, but only with sides. If there's an angle involved in any way, either you're finding it or you're giving it, it must be trigonometry there. So our process for trigonometry. First of all, we're going to label. So we label up. Opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse, it's the longest side. No need to write out the full words unless you really want to. Wherever your angle is, opposite that is called the opposite, and adjacent is next to the angle. Adjacent means next to. So we labelled up our H, our O, and our A. Then we're going to tick, tick, cross. Tick, tick, cross just means we're going to see which ones we're interested in. So I'm given the hypotenuse, so I'm interested in that, I'm going to tick that. I'm given the opposite, so I'm going to tick that. Don't care about the adjacent, I'm not given it, I don't want to find it, it is not relevant in this question. Then we're going to write out SOHCAHTOA. Either you can remember the letters in order, or there's various mnemonics. So salt on hot chips and hot toffee on apples was the way I was taught it many years ago. So that just helps me to remember what order it goes in. I've now got to select out a sine, cos and tan, which one I'm going to use. So because it's the O and the H, and I've got a cross next to the A, anything with an A, so cos and tan, I can't use. I can only use the one that's got O and H in. So ticking that one, I'm going to use sine. As a triangle, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Reason I wrote them in triangles there, just to help me remember whether I'm going to times or divide. Whenever you find an angle, you are always going to be dividing, because your sine, cos and your tan is always on the bottom row. So sine of x, sine of the angle, equals opposite divided by the hypotenuse. If I just typed in 16 divided by 19 into my calculator, we'd get 0 point something. That should spark you into thinking, right, it's not going to be an angle of 0 point something. It just wouldn't be. So therefore I need to actually get rid of the sine. To do that, shift and press sine in the calculator, and it comes up with sine to the -1. That just means I'm doing the inverse of sine. I'm getting rid of it. So if the sine of the angle is opposite over hypotenuse, the angle is equal to sine to the -1 of opposite over hypotenuse. I'm then going to just type that into my calculator. So sine to the -1, 16 divided by 19. I always use the fraction in there. Always close your brackets up. Calculator then does the hard work and gives you 57.36. It doesn't tell you what degree to round this to, so 57.4 to 1 decimal place, 57 just to the nearest whole number, etc., etc. Right, that is paper 3 for foundation complete. I'm not sure why I've started with paper 3, but we'll go backwards through and do number 2 and number 1 over the next few videos as well. Hopefully that has been useful. As I said, if you've got any other questions about anything in this paper, or any requests about what videos you want to record on here, please let me know either via the comments, via the maths Instagram that's in the description section, that's Spencer Academy's maths, or email your own math teacher for whatever school you're at. Obviously we use Heggerty, so using Heggerty is going to be your best bet just for topic based stuff. Going forward we'll probably put some type of plan in terms of what we're going to do with more topic ones, but at the moment it's just using this YouTube channel just to share walking talking mocks, I suppose, on the exam papers, just to keep you going. I hope everyone is okay. Keep safe, stay inside. Luckily Disney Plus has just launched, so I'm working my way through all the Star Wars movies at the moment because I'm a big geek. Anyway, see you in the next video. Bye.